All right, yeah, looks like it's going here.
All right. So we are recording. Yay. Hey, we got that
Thank you.
worked out. Very good.
Woo!
A kind of a special talk of the town slash YouTube internet. Jen, you do a lot more of this than me. So we should
Yeah.
introduce. I've seen you on social media a lot. Jen Melby-Kelley
Yeah.
from Coffee Hag. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. This last week has been really positive for me with opening back up at the shop. We have a walk-up window so people can come up to the walk-up window and place their order. And then on the same day, we released the Coffee Hag Choir's video for it, Let It Be. And my dear friend Colin Scharf was instrumental in making that what it became. So he's here with us today too.
How are you
Hello.
doing, Colin? Thanks for joining us.
Of course, yeah. I will say that I'm feeling pretty good today. I have been very, 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 very busy. Just sort of, I feel like I'm just about at the end of my sort of rope for what I'm able to do this year.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of creative projects that I've been kind of rushing to kind of slam, to get out into the world.
Now,
But yeah.
Colin, if people don't know who you are that are watching or listening to us
Sure.
right now, what is it that you do? Because I've seen your name all over the place and you're involved in so many things.
Cool. Well, I guess primarily I'm a singer guitarist in the local band Goodnight Gold Dust. My wife Laura Schultz and I started Gold Dust in 2010. So incidentally, 2020 was our 10-year anniversary as the band. We had big plans for the year to celebrate our anniversary, but then here we are with COVID-19. So, which I mean, I won't say it worked out in any way for us, but the fact that we weren't able to, perform this year really allowed me to kind of switch gears into like producing and, like generating recordings and things like that. So, primarily I'm a musician. Secondarily, I'm a writer, I guess. And then now, thirdly, I'm I guess I would say, music producer, video editor,
Yes.
Yeah.
The slowdown that happened for you, we're so used to seeing Goodnight Gold Dust all over town, all
Sure.
over the
Yeah.
area, performing. And to take that away from artists must have been so much more difficult for you than us. I mean, we're used to having, a selection of things that we can go to. And then
Right.
when your love is performing for people and putting your creativity and your art out there, to have that gone and have to kind of shift gears into something else. How hard was that for you?
I will say it was not as hard, I guess, as I was afraid it was going to be. And I'll kind of phrase it this way, I guess. So I do have a bit of a competitive edge to myself. I'll be the first one to admit that. So like when another group or somebody's doing something, if, it really like encourages me to try and, do that or try to like get there, wherever there ends up being. And so in the past, when I've been between bands, which has been pretty rare, but on the occasions when I haven't had a group, I've been very like just anxious and nervous, and I haven't known what to do with myself, and I felt like I've been missing out. And so I was really, really, really worried about the start of this year, about just sort of being racked with anxiety and like a purposelessness, right?
Yeah.
But kind of since we were really all in it together, nobody was performing, nobody was doing anything. So there was this sort of like shared sense of unity, I guess. Like none of us can play, none of us can perform. We're all experiencing this right now. And really, for me, I feel very fortunate that I was able to round up a number of recording projects. Let It Be was sort of the first big one that I did this year, but then I also, I don't have it in here. I also produced the River City Holiday Yuletide Collection of Mankato Music Holiday album. And that really took up a very, very big part of my year and just made not performing sort of like supplemented not being able to perform. I was still doing music. And so, just to sum it up, I feel fortunate that I was able to shift gears and still do music just a little bit differently.
did you find that you learned anything? Like I was telling you guys before we hit record on this, that my interviews are normally face to face, which is so great to have this Zoom and to see your faces. So
Yeah.
I had to learn to
so
talk.
good to see you.
I know. I had to learn to talk to people on the phone, where normally like we're stepping on people, and I don't know when you're done talking. So that's the skill that I have tried to hone as much as possible. What did you learn?
Yeah.
I suppose speaking for like if you were to listen to anything that I recorded prior to like June of this year, well, it all sounds great, but I can hear just how much I've gotten better at recording over the past few months, just because it's all I've been doing. So, which is cool, because I have been like toying with the idea of starting some sort of a little recording studio, in the area, and sort of offering that service as a more regular thing. So I learned a lot about recording and mixing music, and getting using what I have to make as professional sounding quality as I can. Yeah.
So when you started working with Jenn on Let It Be, which by
Yeah.
the way, I mean, if I can shift for just a moment, Jenn, when you put your videos on social media, you have people between, laughing and tears. You are such a good communicator, and it seems like what you are doing is so heartfelt, and you have always been there in support of our local businesses. And it's such a hard time being a business owner yourself.
Yeah.
And then also working with the city, it's like you kind of are really well-rounded in the
Thank you.
so where did you come up with the idea to do the choir Let It Be rendition that you guys had put together? Where did that come from?
Well, one night in either late March or early April, I can't remember, I was still working on getting funding for my business, and I was concerned and scared for my family and my staff and the community and our customers. And I hit a wall, and I was just sitting here at my desk, and on the radio, Let It Be started to play, and I lost it. I just started sobbing, and there was something about the song that just hit me. And I thought, I want to do this. I want to just record this. So I sat down and I am not as great as Colin is on recording, but what I did is I just recorded myself and my guitar and another like vocal of myself. And I sent it to him, and sent it to a couple other musicians, and Colin just took it and he ran with it. This song hit me so hard. I knew that we had to share it, and I didn't know how we were going to do it, but I knew the people I needed to contact.
And so you have a large number of people that were recording parts individually, as it looked. How did that work?
Well, what I did is, like I said, I sent my little file to Colin, and then he can probably speak to that a little bit more, because he's the one who got in contact with people from around the U.S. pretty much, right, Colin?
Kind of, yeah. Jenn sent me her file, and was like, how do we turn this? And I think around the same time, I think it was Dave Grohl. I keep saying it was Dave Grohl, so we're just gonna go. Yeah, it was Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters, and he had done a video where it was him and I don't remember how many other musicians, like all kind of playing the same song, And Jenn was like, how do we do this? And I was like, kind of like did the math in my head, and I was like, okay, well, I think probably what they did is recorded the track, and then like sort of like lip sync, mimed themselves playing along to the track, filmed it, sent it to somebody, and then just compiled the video. So I said to Jenn, I think the easiest way, the way that this is going to work, the best for us is if we produce a studio version of the track and then send that to the performers to like mime along. So to kind of like break the mystery here a little bit, or to sort of like reveal the magic, not to reveal.
I don't know if I want to know.
Okay, well, let's just say that, yeah, sure. We did the vocals. We did Jenn, Laura, Hannah Cesario, Laura, my wife, Laura, Hannah Cesario, and Kayla Braun-Schulz. We all tracked vocals individually, sort of distanced, masks on and all that. With me and my home studio, I did a guitar part in my studio. I did the drums, I did the bass in my place on my end, and then I ended up sending the song, to our former bandmate in Goodnight Gold Dust, Zach Arney, did all the sort of fun synthesizer kind of sounds, those sort of dreamy tones you hear. Zach did all of those. The horn parts, I wrote the horn part and then I sent it to the horn players and they, tracked that at their place. There's a really ripping guitar solo that our friend Wyatt Cody, he recorded that. He was in Nashville. He tracked that. In the top left of the video, you see kind of like somebody playing piano. That's our friend Scott Laguerre. He tracked, there's a layer of piano, there's an organ, there's all these sort of, like keyed instruments that Scott played. And so, I had the files that I tracked on my end, and then they emailed me their recordings, and I just mixed them in. And then sent the mix to every player, and they filmed themselves with their cell phones and things, and they sent me those. And I'll be honest with you, the day that I uploaded the video to the Coffee Hag page, I got the last video that I needed. And I done so. It was like down to the wire. I was like, we have got to get this thing out before the end of the year. So I got that last video, popped it in there, and it was like, okay, looks great. Online. And then it's just been on fire since then.
Wow. At last count, what were your watches or your views? How many?
50,000 this morning. I don't know if you've seen an updated one.
Yeah, 50,000. We might be at 51, but 50,000 sure. And honestly, I was thinking maybe a couple thousand, maybe. Yeah. So this is great. We've had a blast with it, and to work with all these amazing musicians, and these are people that have played at the Coffee Hag. And so Colin came up with the idea. Let's call it the Coffee Hag Choir, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. The talent that comes through this town is just amazing. And at what point in time, when you heard what version, did you realize like this is magic? This is pretty magical.
Sure.
God. Are you talking about the song that I heard on the radio that day?
Nope, I'm talking about your version.
Our mix, yeah.
Oh man. We had so many different mixes, and I liked bits and pieces of each one. And when he sent me this last mix, I knew that was it. I mean, I heard the horns and I lost it. I mean, I cried. Yep.
Not the only one. That's a reaction that I've been getting from a lot of people. In fact, we played it on Minnesota 93 the day after it came. I saw it at night, and we played it the next morning. I couldn't stop. I was only going to play a little clip of it, and then my co-host hadn't heard it yet. And so when I let it play, I just watched his face, and he sat there, and I'm like, oh, I have to play the whole thing. We can't just play. It was so well done.
That's cool.
Bravo.
That's so awesome. Thank you. That's so great to hear. I'll be honest with you. We started tracking, in April. I'm pretty sure like mid to late April was when we did the vocals, and then I think I did all, kind of compiled the majority of the tracks by the middle of the summer. I had a couple of rough mixes, kind of going, and I would listen to it in my car. I listened to it on every playback system I had, and there was always something that was like bugging me, or like a little just sort of out of balance, sort of off, and not quite hitting as hard as I wanted it. And then, I guess I'll be frank. End of May, when I was kind of getting ready to like release the track, like, Jen, I think this is it. This is as good as it's going to get. Let's just get it out there. The pandemic's going to be over or something, and this is just going to seem like some relic, like, oh, great, they got together and did a song. Cool. The pandemic's over. Like, who cares? These are all the thoughts that are going through my head, which, obviously were just anxiety. But the point what I'm getting at is, I was ready to kind of sign off on it, and like, at end of May, I had everything that I had taken it as far as I could take it by then. And I was like, let's just put it out. And then George Floyd was murdered, and that I just lost it. I couldn't touch it. I couldn't look at it. There was no joy, in the world really at all. And it felt like such a shutdown within a shutdown, everything stopped, and then everything stopped again. And the energy and the emotion that I was feeling as the sort of, captain of the sort of driving the mix, I was like, I can't work on this. anymore. And I did feel bad. I felt really like, man, I feel like I'm letting these people down. I feel like I'm letting Jenn down, you know, by sitting on this, but I didn't have the energy for it. And then I got into producing the River City Holiday album, and that consumed me from the beginning of June all the way through the beginning of November. And then when the Christmas album came out, you know, here I am like, whew, you know, sort of like feeling, you know, like just did that one, you know, and then it's like, how does Let It Be sound? So I opened it up again, and honestly, I think I ran maybe 2 more mixes, just sort of like ran some passes, kind of tightened it up a bit. And then I was like, this is great. This sounds really cool. And sent it to Jenn, and then there it was.
Yeah. And I think the whole time I always knew it was going to come out when it was meant to come out. And you and I talked about like to come out. We really felt that that's why it took as long as it did.
Yeah.
It was meant to come out right now.
Yeah.
To spread some love and some positivity, and so people could feel what music does.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how I felt about it.
Totally. Yeah. It was, you know, it was like long after the election. We're kind of, you know, like all of the reactions from that, all the garbage of 2020 just sort of suddenly was beginning to feel behind us in a lot of ways. Yeah. And the Christmas record was really cooking. It was really doing really well. People were really positive energy was kind of coming off of that. Yeah. And this just felt like, let's just give them one more. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know, that there's just something about the mix that I tried a couple of different things, but I really just love how it starts with that sort of like floaty kind of synthesizer sound that Zach did. Yeah. And then boom, there's Jenn's voice, and everybody from Mankato they know Jenn's voice, and it just gives you chills, you know? And then the whole thing just it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I just kind of felt like at times, I guess just to sort of speak quickly about like mixing and sort of arranging it, I just felt like this has to get real big, and then it's got to come down, and then it's got to get even bigger. And if you listen to the original, you know, I think the horns come in like on the first chorus of the original. I think everybody's in, you know, on each chorus. And I was like totally being dumb and not referencing the original. So I was just sort of like making my own mix, for better or worse. But I love how it came together. I watched the video a bunch of times myself, just sort of like feeling a distance from it, and feeling like, holy cats, I can't believe we did this. Yeah,
it's beautiful. I've cried watching it, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Great work, Colin.
I have to agree that the timing of the release was perfect at the end of the year here, which it's just been so wackadoodle that to have that message of let's just all take a breath and let's all, you know, look at each other as human beings. Yeah. Especially with everything that's still going on. And as we look forward to a new year, I don't think it could have come out at a more perfect time than that. Colin, you mentioned the River City Holiday album. If people haven't heard that, how do we get in on that?
Sure. It's available for sale at Scheidels Music, which is also one of my jobs. So you can call the store and talk to me. I'll get you the CD. It's available at Scheidels Music. It's available at Toontown, our wonderful local record shop. And you can also call the Free Press. I don't know the number offhand, but look up the Free Press somewhere, you can find it. And you can also call and order it through them. So yeah, there's a couple different ways to get it. It's also available on Bandcamp for streaming and download. So you can get physical copies, you can get a digital copy. I should be able to do it by later today. Today being Monday, so whenever this comes out, by later today, Monday, December 21st, I have been over the past 2 weeks been working on music videos for each of the songs on the album.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I know, that's why I'm so exhausted. I have one more to finish. And I've been releasing them one by one on Facebook. So if you look at the artists who are on the record, look them up on Facebook. I think 6 of them already have videos out. My plan for the end of today is to have the album length music video out. So it'll be on YouTube. You can, just hit play and you'll hear the whole songs, the whole album start to finish with all of the music videos kind of playing. So sort of like an added visual component to the record that I'm excited about.
Jeez, that's a lot.
That is a lot of work. Will you please make sure to let me know when those things happen, and
I will,
if I can help
Yep.
share those links to our
Totally.
listeners,
Yeah.
I certainly will.
Yeah.
Jen, Coffee Hag
Yeah.
opening back up. I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of people posting pictures of them with their drinks coming through.
I know, isn't that great? A friend of mine, we were talking, and she said, the world tried to put a wall between us, and you built a window. And I'm like, yeah. We were trying to figure out a way that we could do this as safe as possible, and our customers have been responding so positively. It's been really great. Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to say, Lisa, was that in the process of doing this with Colin, I've recorded with Colin before with a band. We're called Sister Jenn.
Yeah.
And in this process, he has ignited that musical fire within me again, and we are going to record together again. We want
That's right.
Sister Jenn album, so I'm very excited about that. Yeah, so
me too.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And the Coffee Hag, we're having a blast. The staff is having a great time. We'll have some Coffee Hag swag here soon. We have some random Coffee Hag swag right now, and masks that people can get. So that's good.
So lots of stuff that you can pick up right before the holidays, or
Yes.
maybe after the holidays if you're watching this on replay. Want to send folks to you guys. And when are we looking for a Sister Jenn album?
Well, Colin and I will start working on that. And my bandmates, Abby Delecki and Eddie James Christopher Wright, and Caleb Braun Schultz is going to work with us also.
Awesome.
We'll start doing that as soon as he'll probably get some files from me today. So
good.
We'll be
that sounds good.
very soon.
Yeah.
He's like, oh boy, more work here.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's exactly what I want to do, you know?
He doesn't get a break.
No, that's okay. No. Whenever I get a break, I get nervous, I get anxious, and I start to kind of spiral out. So I need to stay busy, right?
Yeah.
I hear you. You got to keep your hands busy. And I know how long it takes with, like the minuscule audio editing that I do. So I can't even imagine, working for that many months on this particular project. It was so good. There's going to be a link to the video underneath this interview, posted on our social media and everything. If people want to go check that out, if you haven't seen it yet, I know we've shared it. And if you haven't seen it, you're probably under a rock somewhere.
Yeah, I know.
Probably under a rock somewhere. Colin Scharf and Jenn Melby-Kelley, thank you so much. Thank you for the message and the music. And I hope to talk to you again.
Yes, thank you. It's so good to your face.